Hi class, so here is your first lesson for Unit 6. In Unit 6 we're going to talk about rational functions. Rational function basically have it where isn't it has a fraction, so like generally you should see a x in the denominator, just not x by itself. Sometimes we have like really different types of functions here, but and then you'll see a number or letters at the tops. Here are some examples of rational functions. I'm just gonna kind of flip over to some of these pages. You can see that they have fraction bars. You have numerator and denominator, and then that's basically what we do when we look at rational functions. We will get to that a few pages later. We are going to start off Unit 6 by learning about variation and the different types of variation problems that you'll see in Algebra 2. Okay, so there are three different types of variation problems. You have direct variation, you have inverse variation, and then you have your joint variation. Okay, so let's look at direct variation. So the variable x and y vary directly. The variable x and y vary directly if y is equal to k times x. Now I'll show you all these different parts what it means, okay? The number k, you're like, well, that's not a number, it's a k. Well, when we get to our problems, this number k represents a constant, okay, constant number. So what we're going to learn to do first is we're going to learn how to write the general equation for a given description. So like in these type of problems, you'll be given a description and we have to come up with a general equation. And then remember that k is a constant, meaning once we get our equation, the x and y or the other variables change, but your k is your constant variable, okay? All right, so let me show you how we generally do these type of problems. So the first description I have here is A varies directly as B. So you should always see the word varies. So like in example B, it says varies. Example C, it says varies. And then here also. So what I do is, whenever I see the word varies, on top of it, I just write, well, that equals k. Okay, it equals k. And then I'm going to go ahead and build my equation. So I'm going to start by putting equals k because I see the word varies. And then what equals k? Well, a equals k directly. Now, directly means it's being multiplied. So directly as b, so multiplied by b. And that's it. That is my equation that I have for this description. Now they do get a little bit more wordy as we go on, but it's fine. You're going to always look for this word varies. Sometimes we also use the word proportional. Okay. All right. Here I see the word varies right here. So I'm going to underline that and then put equals k. So I don't forget to, because nowhere in here you see the variable, not variable, but you see this constant k, right? You see w and you see x, but you don't see k. But because of the word varies, that's where we know we're going to add equals k. So I'm going to start by writing equals k, and I'm going to build my equation around it. So what equals k? W. W is right in front of that word varies. So W varies, W equals k. Because it says the word directly, it's going to be multiplied times x. So W equals k times x. All right, I see the word varies. So just write equals k, not k equals k. And so you have y equals k directly, so now we're being multiplied, as the square of x. So you have your x and then you have your square. But still it's being multiplied because it says the word directly. Example D. The amount of sales tax paid, T, varies. So there's my word. So what equals K? I need a number or a letter here. So it says the amount of sales tax paid, T. So T equals K. And how does it vary? It varies directly. So meaning that it's going to be multiplied as a total of the goods purchased. So equals times G. And that's it for now. Now there are more steps to come up, but the first thing we need to learn how to do is write these general equations. So that is it for direct variation. Just make sure whenever it says direct, it's being multiplied. Let's talk about inverse variation. Inverse variation, the variables x and y vary inversely if y equals k over x. So when we do inverse variation, here it gets multiplied. For inverse variation, it gets divided. The number k is the constant as usual. Okay, so here we're going to learn how to write a general equation for these given descriptions. So it says here y varies inversely as the cube of x. So I see my word varies, so I'm going to write equals k. Y equals k. Y equals k. And I'm going to write it. And then it says inversely, so divided by the cube of x. So x cubed. And that's it. Just because it says the word varies, I have a division bar here. It says here the length L of a spring varies inversely with the force F applied to it. Okay, so I see the word varies. I'm going to start by writing equals K. What equals K? L equals K inversely. So that means that I need to put a division bar with the force F applied to it. And that's it. A varies inversely. So I see the word varies. I'm going to put equals K. So you have A and FC inversely. So that means I'm going to have a division bar as a square root of B. Okay. Notice that the K in all of my equations is at the top. And then everything else if it varies inversely, I put it in the bottom. And yeah. And then the last type of variation we're going to look at is joint variation. So joint variation is when you have two quantities that are related. So here, notice that we only had B, and then you have your X. You just have one thing that's being that are related. But in joint variation, you can have more than one. You can have 2 or 3, however many. And also you can have a combination of direct variation and inverse variation. So it all kind of gets mixed together. So let's see how this looks like. So write the general equation. Remember, K is your constant. Notice that when I look in here, I don't see my constant K at all. But I know that the word varies translates to equals K. So there's my equals K. So Y equals K. Jointly as X. So because it says jointly, I'm gonna do, nowhere in here says inversely, so it's gonna be jointly. So it's as X and the square root of W. And that's it. So I have my X and then I have my W, and then it's all just gets multiplied together. B, you have the word varies, so G varies, so G equals K. Directly as A and C, so directly just means multiplied, A and C, and inversely with R. Okay, so if it's inversely with R, it goes in the denominator. So, and you put the r under the whole thing. So let me just write this a little better. So you have, because of the word inversely, I put a fraction bar. So at the numerator, I have k is directly with a and c. And then in the denominator, inversely with r. So r goes in the denominator. All right, and then example C, a varies. I see the word inversely, so I'm going to put a fraction bar, and then k always stays at the top. Inversely as m, and then directly with x. And if it's directly, then it goes in the numerator with the k. Okay, m is inversely to k, so it goes in the denominator. X is directly to k, so it stays in the numerator. So these two get multiplied and these two get divided. Okay.